In many real-world scenarios, like waiting in a line or service queue, it is important to process tasks or customers in the order they arrive. This is where the queue data structure comes in handy. A queue works on first in, first out principles, meaning that the first element added is the first one to be processed, just like the first person in the line is the first to be served. In this tutorial, we will create this app, as seen on the screen, that allows the user to add and remove and search for people in the queue. For example, if I want to search the queue for names that contains LI, I just type in LI, and then all the names that contain the letter LI are filtered and displayed here. And then if I want to delete from the queue, I can just click on DQ button, the red button. At the moment, the queue has 4 names: Alice, Bob, Charlie, and David. So now I will delete from the queue. As you see, Alice was deleted. If I wanted to, I can now add a new person to the queue. I'll just add James, 30. To add a new person to the queue, I need to click on NQ, which is the green button. And as you can see, James was added to the end of the queue. And then if I want to peek to see who is the next person in the queue, for example, for an appointment to be seen, just click on the peek at front person button, the blue button, and then it should say or show Bob. Yeah, Bob is the next person to be seen in the queue. So now I would delete Bob from the queue. Just click on DQ to remove Bob from the queue. As you can see, Bob has been removed from the queue. And then if I click on the peek button again, it will be Charlie that is the next one to be seen within the queue. And this is the functionality we are creating in this tutorial. In this tutorial, we will continue with the content view to implement the buttons for NQ, DQ, peek at front person, and other group operations that we need to do. So the first thing we need to do is to continue from line 119. We need to add our V-stack. Spacing. As each button will include 20 pixels of space. Button NQ. So we need to create our NQ person method. So let's just create that now. Create it anywhere after lines 129. Private function NQ person And the purpose of the enqueue function is to enable the user to add a new person to the queue, and this will include the person's name and the person's age. Equals int, so we convert the person's age to an int. Person name is empty, so if it's not empty, then we get the value, else we just exit. Now we have the value of the person's name, and their age. We then pass those values to the person constructor or initializer init method. New person name, age, and age. Queue.enqueue new person. So we add the new person onto the queue. People.append new person. Add the new person onto the people's array. New person name equals comma comma. New person age equals comma comma. So now we can return to lines 125 and then call the end queue person method. We need to add a frame to the button to enable each of the buttons to be the same size using infinity. Padding, background, color is green, foreground, color is white, corner radius for curvy corners, which is 8. The next button we need to create is called DQ. And the purpose of the DQ button is to remove a person from the queue. So we need to create a new function which is called DQ. or DQ person. So let's create that function there. Private function or func DQ person. DQ person equals Q DQ. If let DQ person is equal to DQ person, so if it's not nil, if it includes the value people dot remove all $ dot ID is equal to DQ person ID. So if the IDs are the same, then remove it from the array. That should be people, spelled incorrectly. Remove all, that should be. So what we need to do now is return to lines 133 and call our new method, which is DQ person. And we do what we've done previously to the button, so that each buttons, they're the same size. Change the background color to red. The next button we need to create is peek at front person. Button peek at front person. So we need to create a new method called peek person. Private func peek person. If let peek person is equal to Q dot peek, so what that means, if there's something in the queue that exists, so it's not nil, then we get that person. Alert message is equal pcat person dot name, age, person dot age. Else, if it was nil or empty, alert message equals the queue is empty. Show alerts equals true. So what we need to do is what we've done previously with the rest of the buttons, with other buttons that we created earlier. We have to assign the frame and infinity for the max width and the colors. So the background color will be blue and foreground color is white. Padding horizontal, (16), padding dot bottom 20. The next thing we need to do is to add a navigation title, queue operations, dot navigation bar title display mode inline dot alert is presented show alert alert. So the overload that we need is the first overload. So that will be text, queue operations, operation, message, alert message, and for the dismiss button, we will just use the default with an OK. With OK for the caption. The final thing we need to do now is to populate our queue and our array using dot on a pair. Data dot create array of people. In background, people in. So within this closure, we'll be using dispatch queue.main dispatch queue.main async. On line 156, that should be in line and not line. Self.people equals people. So we initialize our people array, and now we will initialize our queue. Using a people array. Self.matching people equals self.queue.find by name, search name. And the purpose of that line is just a default search when loading the screen for the first time. Now I'll just compile it and run it to see if it works or not. As you can see, the application has now loaded. So if we want to add a new person to the queue, I'll just type in Fred 22 for the age. Click on End Queue. You can see Fred has been added to the end of the queue. If we want to remove someone from the queue, just click on End Queue, and then Alice will be removed from the queue because Alice is the first one in the queue. As you can see, Alice was removed. And we can also filter, so we can filter by name or few characters in the name. Type in Li. My Xcode is a bit slow. Type in L. Locates Charlie. Type in I. Locates Charlie and David. Or E. Charlie and Fred. Or a name that doesn't exist, it won't locate anything. Thank you for joining us. If you found this tutorial helpful, please comment, like and subscribe. See you next week.